Testing 1, 2. All right, mic is on. I think it was already. Cool. Let's get the music volume down a little bit. There we go. Now I just realized that I've got a typo in my let's see, stream title. I keep doing that coding game. Update. Do I have that anywhere else? This is good. All right. Good stuff. All right. I am still working on my Monte Carlo tree search AI bot for Ultimate-Tic-Tac-Toe. Yesterday I had implemented a few things, the last one of which was the default policy, which is basically the simulation function. A function that simulates an entire playthrough of the game using random moves. And I needed to test that somehow. How? I don't know. Let's think here. All right. This should be returning what? Default policy. Where are you? Apply action. My game is draw. Backup Megamax. There it is. It returns a number. Right. How do I test that it returns the correct number? That is going to be hard. That is going to be real hard. I don't have access to the internals, do I? This is really an interesting topic. How do you test? How do you test an algorithm like the Monte Carlo tree search that uses randomness? How do you test that it does what you think it does when it doesn't do the same thing every time, right? This is an interesting topic for research, I would think. Wonder if anyone has ever written about that. I guess the one way to do that is to remove the randomness. So I could use dependency injection and replace, when the time comes, if I actually write unit tests and stuff for this, what if I was to replace, for instance, what if I was to replace get random int inclusive with a predetermined set of numbers, a seed basically. The same way as supplying a seed. I can't do that here, but same effect really. The same stream of numbers. That way I would know exactly what the output is supposed to be. I guess that would be the way. But, oh yeah, I can't do that by hand because we're talking about like thousands, possibly. Thousands of, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't think about that at all until this very moment. So the way to test functions that use random number generators and just randomness in general is to remove the randomness and to control it. So if I have a seeded random generator, then I can make sure that I always have the same stream of random numbers, and then I can know what the result is supposed to be, and I can test against that. Really interesting. Quite a bit of work too, though. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I think I can kind of do a few tests just to make sure that it's not completely wrong using Quokka live testing and stuff here, just to make sure I didn't screw up anything majorly. And I can kind of move on with the rest of the show. So what am I doing? I'm checking that the state is not terminal. I am getting all possible actions. I've tested that before. I am getting an index. This function is quite simple. I've tested that before too. And then I'm applying the action. This is all supposed to be working. So they all have been kind of unit tested. And then I just check the state, return a 1, return a 0, return a -1. Now, what I would like is to be able to check the state once the default policy has done running the entire game. It's the entire simulation. Can I do that? I can. By doing this, let's see. State. Boop. Oh no, that's crazy. I can't do that. Oh yeah, that's fine because that's after we're done with the while loop. Cool. So let's just do that. Okay, and then let's go in here and run ourselves a. So that's default policy. You need to pass in the state. So we've got a state already ready. So we should start with new game. So the game is not done. The player to play is X. And this is kind of the way we indicate that you can play everywhere because this is the beginning of the game. Cool. As for the rest, we are empty. Good. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, except for the first one. Right on. Pass in our beginning state. What else do we need to pass in? We need to pass in the player there, right? Yeah. How do I get the player? Believe I have a function for that. Test bit 23. There we go. Test bit aptly named. Not at all. Pass in the state. I don't know why I've got new state in there. It should just be state. Probably because of where I extracted it from. There we go. All right. So this will output. Oh no, we have lost. Very, very sad situation. Oh wait, what? What is that? What is going on here? 19 and 15. That state 0. I'm printing something somewhere that I don't care about anymore. Oh. Oh. Cannot read property 1 of undefined. Awesome. That's exactly what I wanted to see. not at all. Ah, there you go. Don't need this here. And that got rid of the error? Or it's just that, oh crap. So we've got a problem. And it reached a certain state where it broke. So, oh, I think I've just, no. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Ah, oh no, come on. I had it for half a second. Well, that might come out when I do my actual unit test. Must be some kind of really edge case. And it wasn't apply action. Interesting. Okay. So this is what I'm getting. I'm getting the state. I'm getting, oh no, you lost. Am I ever getting something else? Oh, there you go. Apply action. Cannot read property one of undefined, which is actually happening here. Action 1. So I'm passing in the wrong action. Where from default policy, right? So I'm calling default policy. I'm calling apply action from default policy. That's right. And apparently I'm passing in an action that is undefined. How could I possibly do that? Action. Index. Possible actions index. So this. Alright, so obviously I'm going to need to test this properly at some point. Well, I mean, I guess might as well try to figure it out now. I'm getting a list of possible actions. I am getting an index that is supposed to be within parameters. Extracting the action from that. And then when I get to here, cannot read property 1 of undefined. So, action is just simply undefined, which is what would happen if, where are you? Where are you? There it is. That's what happens when, so the index could be outside the range. It's the only thing I see that would be possible here. There we go. Okay, we've got a case where this is a problem. Index 0. And there we have it. Index 0 returns an empty array. Why does it return an empty array? It returns an empty array because there are no possible actions. Because when I call get possible actions, I get an empty array. And that makes the whole thing blow up. Now why would I have no possible actions if the game is not terminal? Crap. Crap, 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 crap. Oh, this is getting a little complicated. And I think I might need to hook up a debugger. Hmm. And what's the result? Well, I don't get any because this thing blows up in my face. I would have to look at what the state is. Oh boy. When this happens. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to figure a way to hook up the debugger to this thing. Ugh. Well, I was gonna need to do that anyways, right? At some point. So let's see, how do I want to do this? I haven't done this in a while. And it's always kind of a pain, honestly. I'm gonna need to take a look at the documentation for this here. VS Code debugger TypeScript. TypeScript debugging with Visual Studio Code. Obviously, I have looked at this in the past. Visual Studio Code supports TypeScript debugging through its built-in Node.js debugger and also through TypeScript debugging supports JavaScript source maps. Cool. To generate source maps to for your TypeScript files, compile with the source map option. Source map property in tsconfig.json. File to true. Inline source maps. Also supported, although inline source is not yet supported. For more, yeah, so I should probably get that source map true. Let's get that. Okay, now for more advanced debugging scenarios, you can create your own debug configuration file. What? They're saying it's out of the box. I don't need to do any configuration, really? Doubt that very much. VS Code has determined the program to launch helloworld.ts included in the build as a pre-launch task and told the debugger where to find the generated JavaScript. Ah, okay. So that's one way to do it. It would be great if I could debug the test, though, eventually. There is a full IntelliSense suggestions. Yes, that's cool. Mapping the output load. If generated, transpile JavaScript files do not live next to their source, which is the case for me. You can help the VS Code debugger locate them by setting the out files attribute in the launch configuration. Whenever you set a breakpoint in the original source, VS Code tries to find the generated source by searching the files specified by glob patterns in out files. That's it. That's what you got for me. Well, it's a start. Okay. So let's think about this. What I want, really. Let's see. Let's think about this here. We've got pre-launch task, ts build, ts config JSON, which you really don't need to do, I think, but whatever. Package.json build. I'm using rollup C. Don't remember what the C is for, but whatever. And this will output my stuff in a dist here. But now, if that's the program, all right, I'm gonna need something else here. VS Code, debugger, debug, jest, TypeScript. Debugging with TypeScript, jest, TS jest, and Visual Studio Code. Oof. I have a feeling I'm not gonna like that. On top of that, that thing is more than a year old. Oh, this looks a little fast soon. I mean, a little more recent. Let's check this out. Hi folks, yesterday I spent a lot of time to enable debugging for my unit tests in Visual Studio Code. Unfortunately, I did not find anything out of the box in the web that made it work for me. Therefore, I want to share with you now and save you some time. Yes, thank you for that. There is also one small additional change that I had to apply to just configuration file. So I use both TypeScript and JavaScript. I had to add the transformation for JavaScript to the file. I'm using Jest as testing firmware. My Vue project contains both TypeScript and JavaScript. I set the Vue project up with Vue CLI, so there is already a lot of configuration right from the start, like TypeScript, Jest, and Babok. Great. So this is all going to be not useful for me, probably. So let's forget about that. Let's take a look at this guy here. Has anyone been able to find a VS Code extension that allows for just debugging the IDE? I.e. drop a breakpoint, click your test, and run it. Yeah, that'd be great. Everything seems to work hunky-dory for just tests, but not TS. It doesn't seem able to use the jest config to use TS jest to compile the tests themselves. And I'm not a fan of TS jest. Every time I try to use it, I get weird problems. Babel is used when running jest regardless. What I would suggest is get rid of TS jest and just use Babel. Add Babel preset TypeScript preset to strip the types and add the Babel plugin transform modules common JS plugin. Okay, now this is, see, this is all crap. I don't want to have to, this is like, get rid of, add Babel preset TypeScript to strip the types and add transform module John JS plugin if you're using import statements. Oh, I don't like all this. Nope. I don't want to bring in. I am writing my tests though in TypeScript, so if jest uses Babel anyways. What to do. Okay, I'm going to keep that open. Keep looking at other possibility. How old is this thing here? Nope. Thank you. VS Code recipes, debugging jest mists. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Test folder contains two files that test the libcalc.js. Let's try to configure. Okay. All right. So, but he's got his tests in JavaScript. So that's no good. I want to debug my TypeScript tests. All right, let's look at these then. Powerful editor, the right extensions, blah, blah, blah. I'm using Jest with TS-Jest to run my test because it took me some time to figure out how to debug unit tests written in TypeScript. I decided to share my findings. Yes, please. Following is my configuration. I got things working for Jest and TypeScript debugging with VS Code. So that's a Jest configuration. Test environment, node, transform, cool. Module file extensions, all right. Test regex, coverage directory, collect coverage from. So really, Now, what do you have? Type node, request launch, workspace folder. And that's a problem for me because I'm using a, man. Well, didn't I have, I think I had tried to kind of set up some sort of attached by process ID. Interesting. So options to configure Jest. Remember to adjust launch arguments according by specifying your Jest configuration through config path to Jest config. Okay. So what are you doing? Args inspect break, workspace root, node modules, bin, Jest, run in band, config, workspace root, Jest, config JSON, Windows. Internal console options never open. Interesting. Let's take a look at this one right now. This one uses TS-Jest. This seems a lot more complicated. Debugging, there you go, okay. Wait, what does, let me see, TS-Jest, right? TSJest is a TypeScript preprocessor with source map support for Jest that lets you use Jest to test projects written in TypeScript. Mm-hmm. But Jest works without it, right? Am I not able to run tests just, I can't remember. Wow. I think I can. Oh, it's when you start using import statements that it all falls apart, right? I think. Let's try this. So if I've got board tests here, let's say I wanted to do import apply. Oh, I don't have any exports, so let's just export something here. Let's export a small function here. Oh, actually, I know. I'll import random, no, what's it called? Get random int. No? I'm sure that's get random int inclusive. Well, I'll just use it in here. Do. Inclusive. I want it to be between 0 and 5, let's say. So I expect actual to be greater than or equal to 0. Is there an and? No. Or is there a between? To be between? No. I have to do them separately. Let's check this out. Actually, I can just use the ID. How's that? To equal, to be, to match, snapshot. Be greater than, to be less than. To match, to return. All right. So it looks like it's to be smaller or less than. To be less than or equal to 5. And I expect it to be greater than or equal to 0. There we go. Now if I try to run this, well, let's say I try, whatever that is. I am in the Ultimate-Tic-Tac-Toe npm test Jest. Yeah, it's the import thing. Crap. This usually means that you are trying to import a file with Jest. Cannot parse. Example, it's not plain JavaScript. Well, duh. By default, if Jest sees a Babel config, it will use that to transform your files, ignoring node modules. This is what you can do. To have some of your node modules files transformed, you can specify a custom transform ignore patterns. If you need to custom transformation, specify a transform option in your config. So yeah, just uses Babel. That's what the other guy was saying, so you might as well, instead of using TS-lint, so that guy must, it wasn't all crazy after all. Which one was it? This one, I think. Or maybe not. No, I don't think that was, I don't think it was him. This one then. Oh, already open. Okay. Babel is used when running tests. Regardless, what I would suggest is get rid of TSJS and just use Babel. Add Babel preset TypeScript, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's try that. See if I can run the tests at least and then worry about trying to debug them. So I would, now here's the thing, where do I need to put this? Probably in here, somewhere. Crap, what does it need to be called? Dot babelrc.js, okay. Babel rc.js, and I need this to be dot. Okay, there we go, recognizes it. Then I can just shove whatever that guy had in there. Okay. Now apparently TypeScript should be recognizing that. So let's see if we can run our tests now. Nope. Awesome. It failed, but for a different reason. Yay. Cannot find module at Babel plugin transform module common.js from something, 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 something. So I need to install that, I guess. I would suggest get rid of it. Add Babel preset to trip the types and add the plugin if you're using imports maintenance, which I am. It is 2019, dude. So both of these we don't have, or at least this one. So let's install it, I guess. Ugh, I hate that stuff. pm install as a dev dependency this thing. All right. Let's try it again. Now what? It's complaining about the other one. Okay, so let's install this one. Install this one then. PMI, dev dependency. Why does it take so long? Come on. All right, let's test. Oh, it's so slow though. I hate this. But it's working. I've got nothing in here. That's why it's complaining, but it's running the other one. Why was it so long to start though? Maybe because it's a TypeScript test. I don't know. I mean, 2 seconds is not the end of the world, but this should be like super fast. What if I was to run it again? It's kind of weird to me. So it detects, it seems to detect both of our tests quite fast. Let's run this again. See, boom, already knows those are the tests, but then it takes 2 seconds to run. When really there's no reason it should be super fast. Probably because it has to run it through Babel, whatever. Okay, well at least now my tests are running. So that's a start. Now what is this guy saying? Just after the launch, this is your config here. And it's quite simple really. Launch jest, program workspace folder, node modules, then just this. And here's my, this is where this all friggin' falls apart. I can't use this. Um, hmm. And there's another thing that sucks. I guess you don't have a choice when you're debugging, but got to run this in one thread. I think that's what this means, run in band. So this makes your test quite slower, but I guess whatever. All right, so if I wanted to, I wonder if I could, all right, let's try something here. File, close folder. What if I was to open it as its own folder? This could work if I do it that way. So open folder, code and game, then I go straight in there. Ultimate-Tic-Tac-Toe. Select that, so that's technically the workspace folder now. I don't know if that's how it's going to be. Ah, it's going to screw up my Git though. Want it? Well, it still detects that I'm in the... Let's see. If I do Git right here. Oh, I guess it still knows what's what. All right. Yeah, because Git and VS Code, they're not, yeah, they're kind of independent things. So it still knows about that. So now I can have, okay, I've got my own VS Code thing in here now. Interesting. All right, so if I want to, let's see here, debug, add configuration. Let's do that. Why didn't that do anything? Interesting. Okay, what if I just open configurations? Select an environment. Node.js, please. There we go. Thank you. Workspace, dist, Ultimate-Tic-Tac-Toe, CGC. So that's, yeah, that would be if I want to debug the program. So that's cool. But the actual JS. So let's keep that in there. Let's add a new configuration. And that's going to be launch Node.js. I guess just launch program. We're going to call this launch jest. Sure. Launch jest. So what does he have in there? Node launch. It's really not that complicated. Okay. And then he's going to, so basically just replace these, and they should technically work. Technically work. Interesting. Why don't we try it? See what happens. By simply, okay, let's look at what we got here. We've got our board tests and MCTS tests. Here. Well, let's just hit F5 and see if it even runs properly. Reference error, read lines not defined. Oh yeah, oh, forgot about that. Oh, what a pain. How do I deal with that? You see, read line. Wait. What are you trying to run here? Oh, he's trying to run the, okay. Which of course would be a problem. Very interesting. All right, just have to take a short break here, guys. Be back in just a few minutes.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, funk.
All right, I'm back. Okay, what was I doing? Debugging, right. Just gotta run the right, let's see here. Wanna launch, what? It didn't save my, oh, I don't have a name for the other one. That would be why. This one's gonna be called Launch Jest. There we go. And now I should be able to just go. Let's do it here. Launch Jest. Alright. Cannot launch program. Setting the outfiled attribute might help. Why? I think for Windows I might have to do .js. So I should have a separate, I mean I don't work on any other environment, but whatever. Windows, right, which is the specific configuration attributes for Windows. I think if I look at some of the guys, or yeah. Although this guy has a complicated one.
1, 2, 3.
So yeah, I think I just need to add the same thing. No, it's not. Okay, so that'd been a jest. That's what this guy, the other guy was. Yeah. And for Windows, I need it to be different. Apparently, I need to have. It's not an arg though. Workspace folder, then workspace root. I see what they're doing here. Okay. I don't really like that way of doing it. Out files, no. That is not. what if, let's see. I just want to have like general deep, what's it called? This is a little loud now. There we go, better. Launch.json, okay, let's take a look at this. VS Code, launch.json. There you go. Uh-huh. There, okay. Launch versus attach. Add the new configuration. Debug actions, breakpoints, log points, data inspection. There we go. Okay. So, name, pre-launch task, post-debug task, server, program, executable or file to run when launching the debugger. Argument passed to the program to debug. So, platform specific program. Operating Windows for Windows, Linux. Supports defining values, for example, arguments to be passed to the program that depend on the operating system where the debugger is running. To do so, put a platform-specific literal below as an example that passes args to the program differently on Windows. So I would just do Windows and then program, I think would be what I actually need to do. I think. And then I would simply change that to, what are these other guys doing? So on Windows, would be node modules, jest bin jest.ts. Apparently, don't ask me why. Something like that. Let's try that instead. See what happens. Leave that. F5. Ooh. Well, well, well. I think it worked. Test suite failed to run. Your test suite must contain at least one. Okay, the other one's waiting for the debugger to disconnect. Well, that is interesting. How do I disconnect it? It's not running anymore. Oh, it's probably disconnected. Okay. So that is cool. It's not using terminal. It's using the debug console. So let's see. Let's play with this a little bit. If I was to set a breakpoint here, would it work? does. It does. This actual is not. So if I do, let's see, let's just step over. My actual is 1. Step over. Boom. Boom. No, just continue. There we go. Okay, okay. All right, so it works if I set breakpoints in the test itself. Now, will it work if I set breakpoints in the other files? For instance, right here. Let's try that. F5. Oh, I still have my breakpoint here. Crap. Abort test. Okay, let's try it again. Yay! It does. It doesn't here, anyways. But I'm willing to bet. Check this out. I'm willing to bet that it's gonna blow up if I try to run a test on this. Where am I? Get. No, that's not where I want it to be. How do I get out of this split editor thing? Escape, maybe? No. What is that? Previous changes. Yeah, I'm like in a diff. I guess I just have to do this. Boom. Okay. What was it that I wanted to see? Oh yeah. If I tried to test one of these here, so let's take one of the smaller ones. It's a very simple small function. Oh yeah, there you go. Test bit. Let's do this one. Test bit 23. Let's try it in here. Test bit 23. Let's do that. Okay, so I need to do test bit 23. Pass in a state. Let's just grab a fake state from here. So I just need to do this. Like that. Pass in state. I need to as well export these. Export. Okay. Import it here. Nope. Am I not doing this properly? I am not. That's not what I needed to do. This is what I need to do. Export. Export. Now I can import it. Yes, there we go. And I can do, let's say, actual. Hold on. Cons actual is equal to test bit 23. I expect, in this case, I expect actual to be greater than 0. Like that. And, well, Let's see if it even runs first. I have a feeling it's going to complain about read line. Yep. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. Oh no, come on. No, 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 no. Ugh. Alright. So that's what I hate about using all these libraries, and I am using a relatively new feature of the language, which allows us to separate our number literals with these underscores, just so that numbers are easier to read. So obviously, I guess Jest or Babel or whatever the heck it's using under the hood is not using a recent enough version of JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever. And it doesn't understand what it is. All right, let's do all exceptions. Let me just make sure I don't have a breakpoint here anymore. Yeah, I don't. Good. Let's try to figure out at least where the problem's happening. Handle hair from binding. Okay. No such file or directory. Oh, come on. So I guess this thing here it uses as a full control exceptions. That's wonderful. So let's do uncaught exceptions. Okay. All right, so object.raise, object read radix, number, get token from code, blah, 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 parse stuff, maybe. Wow, it's using, okay, it's Babel stuff. This bites. How do I, okay. Babel, what's my particular error? Syntax error. Okay, Babel, syntax error. Syntax error. What are they calling this again? JavaScript, number, literals, separator, separator, numeric separators, numeric separators. Believe they are called. And we've had this in TypeScript for a little while, and I'm pretty sure even Google Chrome has it now. Actually, let's do, can I use, yeah, JavaScript, can I use JavaScript? Much of JavaScript in your browser, blah, blah, blah. So if I do, what is it called again? Numeric separators. Numeric separator. Nope. Nope, that's not it. Nope. Nope. Ugh. Yeah, there you go. V8's got it. Ooh, it's relatively recent though. Oof, really recent. if I look at, all right, so let's try. Uh, Bevel, syntax error, numeric separator. Oh man, I need a I need a plugin. Cool, cool, cool. Let's just add plugins upon plugins. It's unlikely you want to use this plugin directly, as it only enables Babel to parse the syntax. Instead, use plugin proposal numeric separator to both parse and transform this. Okay. All right. So I need to install it, and then I need to. Cool, 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 cool. Pain in the butt. So let's do that. Oh, actually, they're saying I should be using this one, so let's use this one. While we're at it, let's just add all these crappy dependencies. Stop this. Get out of that. Now I need to add that to my embedded rc.js file. How is this thing structured again? Presets plugins. So it's in the plugins thing, which I guess I should now have take. Oh, it takes an array. How does it work? I just shove that into the array. Okay. Probably. That way. That way. Okay. All right, fine. Do your thing. Prettier. Okay, now does the order matter? I don't know. But let's find out if this worked. So, my prediction. This will have fixed that problem, but it's still not going to work because of my readline function. So here we're about to find out. F5. Mm-hmm. Yay. What is going on? What is going on? Debug, please. So, cannot read property 1 of undefined. And that's a problem in apply action from default policy. Yeah, so it's running the entire file. And that's what it would do, of course. So let's just cool it here, buddy. Don't run this. Please don't run this. Don't worry about any of this. And let's run this again. Oh, well, I think it worked. Okay. Not a bad, not a bad. Now, if I wanted to run it without the debugger, what would happen? It's still running it in the debug console, which is fine. It's just running it much faster. That's cool. And I bet I could, if I wanted this to run in a terminal, I'm pretty sure I could have that happen. Let's see. Instead of having it straight in the debug console, I could do, how does this work again? Something about integrated terminal or something. I remember seeing that somewhere. Console. Integrated terminal. Let's try that. That sounds promising. See what would happen here if I did that. And all right, let's try without the debugger. Yeah, it's running it in the console. Awesome. Which I prefer, right? You get the colors and everything. So excited. What is that? PowerShell profile PS1 is not digitally signed. You cannot run this script on the current system. For C user Windows PowerShell, Microsoft PowerShell profile PS is not digital signed. You cannot run the script on the screen. For information about scripts and setting execution policies, C. Whatever. Probably because I need like some kind of admin thing to run that script. Okay. So let's say if I did it with the debugger. Now the debugger is attached. Cool. It's still running it in the terminal or in business. Nothing in the debug console. Now, if I were to set a breakpoint, let's say, let's say I was going to set a breakpoint. Let's see, where's my test bit, whatever thing function. Oh, here's an easy way to F12. There we go. Well, that's a one-line file. Okay, so let's set one here just for test purposes. And let's say I was looking at this, and then I go F5. It runs the test in the terminal, and then it's yay! Did not hit the breakpoint at all, or is it because it's just a return? Why? This should work, no? Why wouldn't it hit it? Rats. All right, let's do this instead then. Let's try. Default policy. Default. I'm not exporting it, so let's export it. Okay. Default policy. Should have imported it. Yep. Pass in the state. Cool. The player is going to be our test bit 23. I need to pass in the state here. Cool. Now I expect actual, I don't really care, whatever. I expect to win, let's say. That's what this would mean. If I get a 1, I won the simulation. But I'm more interested to just test if breakpoint points in this file will actually work. So default policy. What if we were to set a breakpoint right here? Do your thing. Yeah, it didn't hit the breakpoint, and it didn't even stop for the Uncut exception, didn't it? Oh, oh. And this all has to do with the fact that it's running in the... Okay, I think there's something we can do to mitigate that. We already have run and ban. Inspect break? What does that do? Just CLI options. Doop, 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 doop. So run and ban I already have. Run and test serially. Rather than creating a worker pool of child processes that run the test. This can be useful for debugging, which is what we want to do. So cool, but I'm looking for that inspect break thing. Might be deprecated. Clear cache, blah, 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 config coverage, debug. What does that do? Print debugging info about your jest config. Nope. Detect open handles, error, expand, find related test, force exit, help, init JSON. Usage, no stack trace, notify, only changed, reporters. Main pattern, location, result, test runner. Verbose, nope. So that's interesting. We are, let's look at this config here again. Oh, he's calling inspect BRK before he's actually calling CWD and then workspace folder, and that's it. What's CWD again? CWD. Current working directory, right. For finding dependencies in other files. Okay. Okay, so that's just saying this is where we want this, then args. Okay, he's just not using the program thing, it's just... But then, if this is the first argument just passing... Oh, he's passing, okay, he's passing that to node, right? Because this is all running in node. So this is a node CLI thing. Let's take a look. Node CLI. Dash inspect break. Yeah, okay. What does that do? Activate inspector on host port and break at start of user script. Alright, let's try that, see what happens. Not sure I like it, but let's see what effects it has. It would just break at the beginning. Would it break on my breakpoints though? So program, here program, that's fine. Now I want args, runtime arguments. So I guess it's not using args anymore, or let's do runtime arguments then. Just seems like they're using args. What is this guy using? Runtime args, okay. Ah, he's also using the inspect break thing. So, let's do it. Inspect break. Save that file. Let's try running our debugger again. Oh, And now it works. Look at that. Very interesting. And it didn't break at the beginning for no reason. I just, okay. Now if I wanted to use the debug console to try some stuff out, for instance, if I did player, if I did just like, okay, console log player undefined. What if I did, what if I did just player? What happens? Oh, okay, that's interesting. So that works. If I did state. Okay. Very nice. I can actually open this in here. Oh, me like. So if I did, for instance, state, let's say 0, I want to check that out and I want to see it in binary format. Show that to me. Oh, I like it. Okay. I like it. Okay, we're going to be able to do something with this. Alright, so I think we've got our, an hour later, I think we've got a proper configuration to run tests and debug them. Man. But this is going to serve as a good template, I guess. I'm going to save that for later, some of the time. Okay. Now, all of that was so that I could test this function, wasn't it? Was so that I could test default policy. All right. At this point, I'm wondering if it wouldn't be the right time to, since I'm going to have to start to do actual tests if I want to run the debugger on them. I wonder if I might as well not start organizing my code properly and writing unit tests for this stuff. I mean, at first I wasn't writing any tests because I really didn't know where this whole thing was heading. Wasn't even clear or sure on my data model, if that's what you want to call it. Binary data model, I don't know, whatever. But now I think that's pretty much set. I doubt I'm going to be changing that. Famous last word. So it might be worth investing in some proper testing, and my file is getting to like 200 lines long, so maybe I could do that. So, okay. Let's okay, I'm just going to start with this one test file first anyways. And that I'm going to need. We'll figure it out as we go. The one thing I probably want to do is separate out some of that in two separate files. This will be the overall UCTS search. Where do I look? I've got this here. So I could probably separate out the big 4 steps into separate files. That seems like a not so bad idea. So Let's start by separating out the tree policy into a separate file. So tree policy.ts. If I can just take this, boom, and you're gone. Like that. Now, of course, I'll fix those after. Okay. The next one is start time, no, tree policy. The next one is default policy. Expand and backup Megamax, I guess. Those are kind of the 3 or 4. Find best computers. Okay. Yeah, so tree policy. Actually, yep. We're going to need a expand.ts. That's going to take this. Going to try to properly unit test all that stuff. All right, then I need a default policy. Default policy. Oops. .ts. Like that. And let's forget about all that for now. And that. Okay. Find best child and backup Megamax are the. So one's going to be called best child, best child. This one here. Like that. So getting a little tired of scrolling up and down in that file. So the time was right. And did I just copy it, not cut it? Yeah. I believe that's what I just did. So. Okay. And now, backup is the last one we're gonna yeah, all one word, backup.ts. And although I haven't implemented it really yet. Okay. So that's good, I think. Now let's organize our other little functions. So I've got state and action defined here. The types, do I want them in MCTS? I might as well. I might as well. Sorry. For now, anyways. UTC search, of course. Now it's interesting that how does it have access to tree policy? Didn't I get this out of here? Maybe I just didn't. Let's just delete all of this stuff here. Yeah, I want to make this file smaller still. Okay, why isn't it complaining about tree policy? That's weird. That is not in the file anymore. It should be complaining about it. Oh, it's complaining about default policy. Saying, hey, you can import it. But it's not complaining about tree policy. It knows that it takes a node. So it's got a function signature for it, but not the typing though. That's, I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. What if I close the file and open it back up, let's say? Would that change anything? Nope. Odd. Odd, very odd. Alright, what if we were to just close the folder altogether? Close folder. And open it back up. Oh, something's okay. When it's this one. Okay. Wow. Real strange. I don't know. Okay, well, whatever. Not a big deal. I'm just wondering why it's not complaining about all these other functions that I've just extracted from this file. And that I'm not importing. And it's acting like everything's cool. So let's import default policy here. Start by fixing this one. We're exporting it already, so that's cool. So let's do import. Boom. Yeah, and then it's saying, well, everything's fine. That is weird. Very weird. All right, let's start by exporting all of these. Export. 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 We'll come back to you later. Export. Sorry. All right, they all have exports. Oh, and now they're complaining. You're not in, okay, whatever. So we've got all our imports right on. Now, let's fix these, starting with the Tree policy. Tree policy needs access to our node. Our node should probably be defined in a separate file as well. So let's call this mcts node.ts. And let's put that in there. All of this. X. CTS node. Export it. So I'm using it as an interface as well. I haven't defined an interface just for that, so. Which is fine by me. For now, anyways. Now. So this needs to import it here. Import MCTS node. Gotcha. And I was focusing on this one first, so you're going to need that too. And let's see, return expand. So you need access to expand. And you need access to find best child, which we're all okay, good stuff. Now, the next function we're using is default policy. Actually, we're calling expand from tree policy, so let's worry about that. You need access to this as well. And apply action, okay. Apply action is going to be used in a few different places, isn't it? Let's take a look at it. Apply action is not a small function. Let's make it its own file, its own module as well for now. So apply action ts. Get that out of there. Export it. So expand is using it. And I think best child is also, no, not best child, default policy is probably using it too, yeah. Okay. Tree policy. Best child needs this. Compute UCB1 score. Now that I think is the only place where we're going to be using this, so I might as well extract it to that. Move it to that. Module. Best child. Yep. State is terminal. Am I using that anywhere else? Is there a way to see? So F12 will take me to the definition. All right. But how do I know if anybody else is using it? Well, I think there's a way for that once everything is hooked up properly. So, okay. MCTS node is using it. And so is default policy. How big is that thing? Quite small, really. I wonder if it wouldn't make sense to make that a part of the node. We're just basically passing that on here. Right, status terminal to determine if the node is terminal, and I need it in default policy as well. State is terminal, but all I'm passing is the state, so no. Okay. Let's probably have that maybe in a helpers function. I already have a utils. Yeah, let's shove that in there for now. I don't think this warrants its own module, really. But since it's being used by let's export it. So you need that, fine. So we're using it here. And we're using it here. Cool. Now, I was done with tree policy, right? I was done with expand, so default policy. Hey, tech exec. If you're watching, thanks for hosting me. And thanks for following. Appreciate it. Board state here. All right, get possible actions. I like that. Hey, Mr. Demon Wolf. I love that name. Thanks for following. And Mr. Hazel, or it's not Mr., it's just Hazelnuts. Hazelnuts. So just to bring you guys up to speed, I'm working on an AI bot for a cool site called Followed Only Because You Use Outlook. That's awesome. Yeah, well, yes, I'm working on this coding game. I don't know if you guys know about it. It's a pretty cool site where they've got, coding puzzles and stuff, but they also have like a compete section where you write bots to play games, and your bots go up against other players' bots, and there's like leagues and rankings, and it's a lot of fun. And this is an Ultimate-Tic-Tac-Toe. I don't know if you guys know about Ultimate-Tic-Tac-Toe, but it's a pretty cool game. It's basically a tic-tac-toe game with tic-tac-toe games, right? You've got 9 boards that make up the meta board, as I like to call it. So if you're a player X and you win this small board, then this becomes a X for the entire big board. It's like 9 games of tic-tac-toes within a big tic-tac-toe game. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on. Tic-tac-toe version 2.0. Yeah, more like version 9.0. because it increases complexity quite a bit. And on top of that, there's a special rule where um, so tic-tac-toe inside tic-tac, yeah, basically. So if I am, let's say I'm starting off the game, I'm player X, and the board is completely empty. I get to play wherever I want on the board. So if I was to play, let's say, in the upper left board, but I would choose and I would put an X here in the lower right. Whoops, I just set this thing off. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Then that means that my opponent now has to play in the lower right board here. So if O was to play here, for instance, in the middle left, then my next move would need to be in this middle left board. So it's really hard to plan ahead for this game, and this is a big challenge for coming up with an AI that's worth anything. And I'm implementing an AI using Monte Carlo tree search. ASMR? Really? What? Hold on. How's that? Does that do anything for you? Like, well, fabric. There you go. I could change my channel. No more coding. It's ASMR from now on. All right. Oh, you were reading the emote. Okay. All right, good stuff. Back to coding. So I'm just reorganizing my code now. I spent the last hour to basically setting up a proper debugging configuration for VS Code. I'm using Jest. I'm going to start writing unit tests for this thing, and I'm using TypeScript, and it's not too hard, but it's not trivial as well to hook it up so that it works properly. ASMR code. Yep. And now I'm splitting up my code into files because up to now I was like really prototyping and I was just like writing code in the same file, but I was getting a little crazy. Scrolling through like 250 lines of code drives me nuts. Someone that writes tests on Twitch. Anyways, back to grinding. Yeah, all right, man. Okay. Get possible actions. Now, I think default policy is the only module to use that. I believe it is. I believe it is. Expand's not using it. Tree policy is not using it. Oh, yeah, my MCTS node is using it. All right, so let's just take a look at. It's not a small function. Let's make it into its own module then. Probably gonna add to that anyways, so let's call this, oh, and I hate the name, get possible actions. Ugh, I'll change it. I'll change it later if I have to or want to. For now, get possible actions.ts. Just completely cut that out of here. That in here, export it. Okay, I was using it here, so let's import it in here. And I'm also using it here. That's fine, I've got that in utils, don't I? Yeah. Has one. And metagame is draw. Am I using that anywhere else? Has one. Not using that here. Not using that here. Here. That's the one I was looking at. Best child. Not using it here. Apply action. I'm using them here. So I'm using them in apply action, and I'm using them in default policy. Metagame is draw and has one. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look. That's a pretty small function. So let's just grab them and shove them in my utils for now. What's the other one here? Yeah, that's the other one. And I'm using bit boards. It's the first time I do that. And man, let me tell you, it doesn't do anything for your code readability. Of wins, so I need to define wins in this file here. No, that I don't like. I prefer to keep that here. For now, anyways. Am I using it anywhere else? That's the question. I might not, actually. Okay, that's where it was. Not using it here. Somehow this feels wrong to shove that in utils. Yeah, well, I really want to clean this up though. So you know what, for now I will. For now I will. Okay. I don't even need to export it. I'm only using it here, yeah. Okay, I do need to export these though. Like that. Oops. Okay. So I was using it here. Port these two from that. Okay. I was also using it in here. As one. Metagame is draw. Oh, and is draw. Is draw. Is draw as well. And that for sure is gonna. Well, is draw, I seem to only be using it in here. So let's just have it in here. And almost done with the, let's see. Test bit 23, my favorite function. Splice random, I know where that's from. Just from utils, cool, action. Just get it from CTS, same thing for state. Alright, so I'm using test bit 23 in here, which is apply action. Get small board actions. That's the only place I'm using this, right? So let's just move that here. Okay. And I think we're getting close to, yeah, so now the only one, don't need this anymore here. Only one I need to figure out is test bit 23. And I think I'm only using it in here. Apply action. That's weird. I thought for sure I was using it somewhere else too. I'm using it to test whether the player is, so I'm sure I'm using it in default policy maybe? I don't know, it's because I was using it in my tests. That's where I was using it too. Alright, but for now, let's just put it in here. Apply action, so. Which is a terrible name. Oh, I'm using it straight in here too. That's okay. So if I'm using it in two places, let's shove it in there. Yeah, sure. So now to need to import it from here, and I need to import it here. And okay, back up. There we go. And we're all green. Our code's reorganized now. I have enough folders where I have enough files where I'm thinking I should probably use folders too, but let's start with this. It's more manageable now. Here, there you go. I'm actually wondering if I shouldn't extract these to some other. They're just type. I could have a. Oh, you know what? I should. Let's do that. Let's call this. I don't know. Declaration. .d.ts. How's that? And then just take these. X declarations. Like that. Now I don't even need to use export, I think, in here, right? And I also don't need to import these anymore. There we go, as they are picked up by the declaration file. Cool. So let's just go and fix these now. One less import. Like that. Like this. And there we go. Wunderbar. Okay. Alright, so that's not bad. That is not bad. I think we've got a decent setup to keep going and start writing tests for this stuff. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be really interesting. I don't know what the heck I'm doing there. Because I got a test This entire algorithm is it's all based on randomness, right? Monte Carlo simulations. So I'm gonna need to use if I want to do like proper tests, I need to control the randomness. So how do I do that? I use a seeded random generator, is what I'm thinking. Anyways, so that's going to be my next step, but I'm out of time. So that's going to be for tomorrow's stream, probably. Rack my brain and try to figure out how to test this thing properly so that we can keep going with implementing. We're still missing this function here. This part of the algorithm is not complete. And I've kind of like, console tested this one here. Um, and some other of my helper functions, but I need to do a better job of that, right? Especially given the fact that I'm using like bit boards and it's just like super obfuscated. So I need to clean that stuff up and make sure I can understand what's going on in that code if I ever come back to it in a few months. All right, man, and women, and other people. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow as I continue this fun project. In the meantime, take care.